evening all, welcome back to Space Engineers. What we're doing today is finishing off our illustrious Red Dwarf, and we're going to call it the Red Dwarf year because I thought that was funny. And what we're going to do is build a bit of a bridge. Now, again, the size is not right, I know, don't hate me for it, but certainly it's a great example of maybe what the engine can actually cater for. Because a lot of the time, I think the engine, particulars of this game is always worth understanding. Because, for example, you couldn't build actually a sector-wide long ship, which is always a bit of a shame. However, one day it may get to that point, and then obviously we will be building much bigger things. As we go each day through this game, we find that more and more becomes more stable. There's more patches, there's more stuff coming, and I think, to be honest with you, this is our game to watch. I think this is going to be something quite huge. It really does depend on how they do the next bit, which is going to be the proper construction of ships. At the moment, we're in creative mode, so everything's given to you. But over time, you're going to have to obviously, mine, get minerals, build frames of ships, then spend time welding the plates into position, grinding them. You're going to have to actually, quote, be an engineer proper. Which will be interesting, fun, and I'm sure an amazing thing to actually do. So already I'm actually quite excited for it. But I guess it's going to be a tricky one, to kind of gauge how people are going to respond to it. So there we go. Anyway, so the last few things we're building here is our wonderful Red Dwarf bridge, and I thought I'd put a door at the back just so you see it. Again, I probably would like to have done this a bit bigger, but what I did notice was already the size of the ship was slowing the map down slightly, so that's not great. But anyway, there we go. And again, it's not perfect, it's still too clean. We'll put some obviously pock marks in it, we're going to put modules on it, but that as the base of the hull is kind of there. I also realized that actually I'm trapped in my bridge now as well, so I need to undo that. But anyway, these are just mere trifling things. I think when it comes to big ships, there really is a fascinating kind of mindset with them, because a lot of the time people always have the Star Destroyer is always seen as kind of your default go-to ship. For example, the Star Trek Enterprise is just another example there. So it's always quite interesting seeing how people respond to the way that certainly science fiction genre seems to portray big ships. I think the reality would be, I'm an engineer myself, mechanical engineer as it goes, and I think certainly what I would know is that the shearing forces of ships this size would just never work, literally never work. It would start accelerating and bits of it would just literally expand and contract, and this thing would be dead. Now you do have the thing of, they've always walked away with this as not a problem by having inertia dampeners, which does make a lot of sense. Inertia dampening would mean that you have no internal and external forces acting upon the ship, and you could get away with a lot more kind of you could get away with it more. But I think certainly in this game, I think it's not so much of an issue. It would be nice if you had that feeling where stresses and strains on a single connection between two ships, maybe, or rather two modules, would actually suffer and break. But then again, the whole ship would become a bit of a nightmare. We don't want to make this game too like Kerbal Space Program, because that would be a bit frustrating. Or maybe we do. Post in the comments, tell me what you think. So here we go, we're going to build our generators. Now look at that. That works, there's no problem with doing that, but doesn't it look like they're just like internal generators now? Looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? Simple stuff, but actually quite effective. So even a massive ship like this doesn't need a huge amount of space to then build the capability to move pretty well internally. And again, there's no issue with having all the engines front, back, left, right like that. Either. Plus, I think they look pretty sweet. Don't know about you. I like the reactor cores as well. I'm really quite chuffed with the reactor cores in the way they look. So I'm really quite liking that. And then we just finish off our engine bay. We're just going to put another sort of layer of generators there. So there we go. So that looks pretty sweet, doesn't it? I like that a lot. Hope you do too. And I think really what we were trying to do here was just make a ship. I hate ships that are slow. Okay, now I don't mind a ship that's big and ponderous, but I think the problem is I hate ships when that are just too slow. So I made, I think maybe in my third or fourth video, I made a version of a crane, which is a big hauler ship in Eve, and it was just too slow. It was painfully slow, so I think that put me off it hugely. So I think definitely we're not going to try and build things like that. But I thought when it came to the engineering deck, you know, when you look at the various sci-fi references, engineering decks generally have a reactor core, as you see here, and then they have generators, etc. And it's all generally like a big industrial factory open space with many, many levels, which is exactly what I built here as well. So we'll build gantries, we'll build a lot more kind of stuff around here. But I think to begin with, I wanted to build just something that was very typical of the thing, but also able to be functional as well. So I wanted to be able to actually get up and down this engineering deck here. So think of this as like the Star Trek one, where pretty much they have that little round table next to the reactor core. That's what I was going to build here, and then have steps down, Jeffries tubes, as they would call them, down to the lower deck below, that would then enable you to, you know, manage the ship as whatever you needed to do. So there we go, we'll build them there. Also, I wanted to try and again, I'm thinking that in the long run, what eventually will happen in this game is there'll be crews within ships of real players. So we would actually have this vessel in our own map, and we could go around that map like you would in Minecraft. You can go around the map and you can go mine and da 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 da. So this is why I wanted to make such a big mining ship, because in essence this thing is going to actually travel around with the squad and become kind of the central point for well, I guess our squad. So we'll actually use this as a manufactorum. We'll use it as a refinery. We'll use it as a you know, a fighter base. Literally, it'll have everything here. So it will have a proper you know, build around it, and it's all based upon just the mechanics of the game. So there's power, there's lights, there's engines, there's gyro stabilizers, there's refineries, manufacturing bases or assemblers, and it's all possible. So literally you can create, instead of like in Minecraft or whatever you'd make your castle, in this game I literally make my ship my home, and I really love that that premise and the possibility of it. So we go, interesting stuff. And I think really, again, I'm just so overwhelmed with what this game offers. Every time I get a little bit fed up and, you know, work gets to me or something, I just think to myself, do you know what? I want to go and have just a quick blast in Space Engineers. And I guarantee you that after, you know, 5 minutes of playing, I've done something stupid, like, I don't know. Well, you'll see some of the stupid stuff we've done. And to be honest, after a while, you just think to yourself, yeah, that's amazing. I'm feeling better. You know, you feel better about everything. So here we go, let's just do an inaugural flight. As you can see, power's looking good. We've got pretty much right amount of engines. We've got, what, 6 gigawatts of power. That's pretty cool. And as you can see, this thing turns not fast, but it turns suitably, which has always been a problem of the bigger ships. And plus, as we put our foot down, this thing can easily accelerate quite nicely as well. So there we go. Join us next time when I'll show you the final fit of the interior, some stairs and things like that, and we'll show you our finishing off of Red Dwarf. Hope you enjoyed that. See you next time.